In sales, especially in cold calls, it's often thought to be quite powerful with what you're saying and to be quite abrupt, and it is a tactic you can use. But look, I want to tell you the main skill that people aren't telling you that is going to get you results is actually having good manners and having empathy and speaking to people as if they're actual people and not as if you're reading from a sales script. This is like one of the most important things I keep on learning in my sales journey. So, right, you know, when you cold call to the gatekeeper and you want to get through to the business owner, often what they will tell you is, hey, hey, it's Bert. Can you please get me through to John? So they will tell you to have like a sense of authority in the cold call. And so that's not necessarily wrong, but it's wrong if it's not coming from the right place. And that's, if you're forcing that, you're not going to create the right type of authority. You're going to create more of a pressureful authority that's not based on mutual respect. And that can work in the beginning, but if you want to get to a higher level in sales, you really need to understand the needs of the person that you're speaking to. So even though it's just a gatekeeper, you still have to, it's still a real person. It's still someone that needs respect, someone that's sitting there like the entire day there, making calls, same as you. So you need to actually relate to them as if they're a human being. And sure, they might not be the CEO, but the more you just respect them as a person, the more you understand their duties and just speak to them. Don't treat them like the CEO because they're not, but treat them as a real person with real duties in the company. So that's what really helps a lot. Sometimes I think you can still get better results with pressure, but it's going to be a short-term leverage, especially if you have, if you're working with decent businesses, your lead list isn't going to be endless, right? So there's only going to be maybe like 5,000 leads of good businesses. So most of the time you do end up cycling through the same people. So you can't just burn your leads. And I think it's better for your own development as well if you just learn to speak to people in a respectful way. And that doesn't mean don't use authority. It just means use authority in the right way. And that's what I say. And then also something that relates to that, if you're someone who is very sensitive about maintaining your authority or sensitive about you don't want to be disrespected, this can be a good trait. I have this trait myself. I don't like this. But the danger is having a short fuse can be a danger, because whenever someone does, let's say you're in a sales meeting with a prospect, you're trying to open up the conversation, but whenever you even sense something that's slightly off, you're going to get triggered if you have a short fuse. So you really need to let that go, and you really need to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's what I've seen. That's what I've noticed that allows me to connect better to people. Because if you're keeping them too short on the leash, you're not gonna be able to connect well, because they won't feel comfortable. And you demand respect, but you also need to be able to give them the respect they need as a person, right? So really, the more you can just calm down, have empathy for people, and be like a little bit tolerant, like that's going to give you massive results, especially if you're someone that's dealing with short fuse. Now, on the other hand, you still need to be able to set boundaries as well, right? You don't want to. You don't want people to waste your time. You don't want people to disrespect you at the end of the day. But it's about giving people some time and room and just giving them the benefit of the doubt so that they can at least prove that they're a good person. Because if you're keeping them too short on leash, you're not even giving them a chance to prove themselves. So you really need to learn to calm down, have empathy, and have tolerance. Not endlessly, but a fair amount. That's some of the things I notice right now that's improving my results the best. I think in the beginning for me it was about setting boundaries, but now it's about becoming more tolerant, things like that. So that's important. Empathy and stuff. And then also, it also goes a little bit to rapport as well, because it's not just being tolerant, it's also actually being able to make a good connection. And that tolerance helps in that, but it's still a skill you need to build of just talking to people and having like a nice vibe. It's something you need to feel out, and you need to develop a little bit the skill of small talk sometimes. Not too much. And sales, you don't want to do that too much, but a little bit helps, especially in the beginning, just to connect better. That's what I found. So yeah, that's what I say. So really that's it. Have more tolerance, be able to connect with people, and give people a chance to prove themselves. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Give them some time. And if they then still prove that they're not worth your time, then you cut them out. But you got to give them the time first. And you got to give them a chance first. So that's one of the main lessons I learned in the last months of doing sales, and it's ongoing. So yeah. Let me know, guys, if you like this video, if you like the ideas. If you're someone who sometimes has a little bit of the same issue, maybe maybe you used to be a little bit shy in the past and now you try to keep people too short. You need to become more tolerant. Let me know if you can relate to this. Check out my next video if you want. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.